Hi, this is Kathy with In Your Korner, where decision, commitment, and accountability will put you on the path to your destiny. Today I was thinking perhaps we should talk about what it means to overcome the challenges of working in a team. Whether that team is at your workplace or at your home place, working with a team and developing cohesiveness and cohesion to take you to the next level can be quite a challenge. I was recently reading an article in Harvard Business Review, and it identified 8 problems that teams encounter, right? Now, when most people think of working in teams, they think of their professional life and they think of group projects or particular projects they've been assigned to. And they think, oh man, I may not want to listen to Kathy today because this is not applicable to me. But let me tell you, if you're in a relationship, have you ever encountered poor communication problems? Those transcend both to your professional and your personal life. What about a lack of creativity or inability to resolve conflict? What about difficulty making decisions? Sometimes I'll just say, well, honey, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't know. Whatever you decide is fine. Now we're going through trying to figure out what we're going to decide on something as simplistic as eating. So today, we're not just going to limit it to our professional lives because teaming involves more than just that, and it really carries over into our personal life. So today, we have Corey Emanuel with Omnimedia here to help us make sense of it all and to offer some viable solutions on how to overcome the problems that teams encounter. Hi, Corey. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me back.
So tell me, Corey, how do you deal with some of the challenges that teams encounter, whether those teams are professional or personal, like inability to resolve conflict, for instance?
For sure. I think that one of the greatest challenges that teams, whether it's working teams, school teams, partnership between couples, is you have to come together and identify what your goals are. Like, why are we even in this? Why are we here? Why do we show up day after day? And if you find that you don't have common goals, then you're headed for trouble. That's sort of like step one. As I was preparing for our conversation today, I looked at really defining team. Like, we say that word and we throw it around, but like, what does a team even mean? And so a couple of words that came up for me that I think will serve this particular point is that a team is a group of people with a full set of complementary skills. They work together in a collective performance. Then lastly, a team is more than just a collection of people when a strong sense of mutual commitment creates synergy. So like those C words just kept coming up: complementary skills, collective performance, mutual commitment. You got to identify those right off the top.
What I find to be interesting about all the C's that you mentioned, how that is just not limited to the relationships that we have in our professional environment. I know being in a marriage, you have to have complementary skills, right? And somehow opposites seem to attract to one another. It seems that in order to make those skills even more complementary, because you tend to gravitate, it seems, toward an individual that possesses the strengths that you yourself are weak in. I notice that a lot amongst people. And I don't know, when an employer is putting people together, Corey, in a group, I wonder to what degree are they examining the individual strengths compared to the other individual's weaknesses in order to eliminate some of these common team conflicts.
Absolutely. And I've certainly experienced that in my own
Hmm.
team environment. So I do some consulting for a technology publishing company. And so there's a team of consultants, right? And occasionally we all come together and collaborate and
Hmm.
brainstorm. And you definitely see that, wow, we're all coming to the table, with a set of gifts and talents, but how do they really serve us as an organization?
Hmm.
Particularly as we're creating materials and we're developing new products.
Hmm.
We kind of have to all put our minds to work for that common goal, as we talked about. And
Hmm.
you do notice how distinctly different everyone is. And sometimes you find that, someone may be deployed here and they're not a right fit for that particular environment or that
Hmm.
community. But if you don't know what everyone is capable of doing and what
Hmm.
skills and talents they bring to the table, then you don't know. So I do believe that there is some sort of organizational challenge around bringing the right people together for a common goal. Absolutely.
I agree with you completely, Corey. But have you ever encountered where you had the right people as far as they possess the right skill set? So they was bringing the best strength to reach the goal that the whole was trying to get, but it's those human idiosyncrasies that seem
Hmm.
to rub the other members the wrong way.
Right.
Right? And how does one overcome that such that the group can reach the goal? Because in the line of work that I'm in, I find that you have all the right people, but they all possess the wrong personality collectively
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
order, even though, now, if they could work in a silo, they could all produce and get to
They'd
the
be great.
goal. Right, exactly. It would be harmonious.
Right.
The problem
Right.
is when you bring them together. So I'm
Right.
interested in what type of recommendations you can provide to our listeners.
Right. And I think so there's a matter of looking at, what is our collective agenda and then what is your personal agenda, right? Because in our individual personalities, those are certainly going to come out and drive personal agendas, your individual personalities. Is
Right.
that but I think again, coming back to this theme of common goal, you've got to minimize your personality to be able to really meet whatever that common goal is. So I've definitely been on teams like that. It's usually one person that kind of stands out that's like, I'm here, I want my voice heard. And while that's great, and we invite all of that to the table, there still has to be, okay, what did we come here today? What did we gather today here to do? And is
Hmm.
what you're sharing, does it serve that purpose? It
Exactly.
has to keep coming back to that, for sure.
Exactly. And then each time the team comes together and meets, do you find that it's effective?
For sure. And I think, particularly coming from the creative development side as well, you want those out of the box thinkers, right?
Hmm.
Because maybe there's one little element that you need that's really going to set that commercial, that product, that brand aside, that one person with that unique personality,
Right.
they brought that idea to the table and it is going to take it to that next level. So there's a place for it, but you just still have to adhere to, okay, what did we say we were coming here today to do? Did we meet that goal?
Hmm.
That's what it keeps coming back to. But there's certainly room, and usually you can find a way to fit it in, but you just want to make sure that it doesn't drive the entire team too much off course.
Right. Exactly. And it's important that each member, I find, I hear that, well, my voice was not heard, or my position was not taken under advisement, or these are some of the challenges that I hear, or nobody's leading this team to the point to where it's keeping it directionally flowing toward the goal.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I'm
Yeah.
wondering, is it wise to like have like 5 minutes where everybody just gets to, I hate to say, just vent or say whatever it is that they're thinking about the project, or do you tailor that to where, okay, if you're having issues regarding the goal, then we'll address.
So we're getting sort of into what's a formula for some of the most successful television shows right now. So when we look at The View, we look at The Talk, right? These are
Hmm.
team panels, if you will,
Right.
but there's always a facilitator, right? So
Right.
everyone gets to kind of go off and share their thoughts, share their ideas, but there's always that one person driving it back home to, okay, this is sort of where we started this conversation. So I do, to your point about having someone that's leading the conversation, someone to facilitate, you absolutely need that. But you see in those environments, there's still room for people to share their ideas. And
Right.
oftentimes, I think as an audience, you're hearing things and you're like, whoa, I never thought about it like that.
Right.
So it opens everyone up to a whole new set of ideas when you open up the panel.
So tell me something. If you were, as opposed to a creative setting, if you were in a corporate setting and you were trying to make sure that your input had value or that it was being heard, or you find that the discussion kind of derails off into different sets of personalities. I think what I'm experiencing a lot of, or I'm hearing a lot, is that people don't feel like what they're saying has any value to the group,
Mm,
or they're being dismissed. I don't know if it's a male female dynamic, because a lot of that is going on with the sexual harassment things, and
mm,
a lot of the exposure to media where women have to work twice as hard to be thought of half as good, all these different types of stereotypes, right? Where
right.
and it's especially more prevalent in a male dominant environment where women do add value and they have something value added to say, but it seems like it's drowned in the noise, right? I've seen it many times, not so much in a creative environment, but it's like, or I've seen where men won't follow a woman as a leader. It's a
Right.
pride thing or
Oh yeah.
something. So I'm thinking, how do we look at achieving the goal in an environment where a person is feeling like they're not being heard?
Mm-hmm. I think you have to know the dynamics of your group, right? There
Uh-huh.
are going to be certain people who just organically, naturally foster a place where people feel heard and where people feel valued,
So you
and so
think
you've
it's
got to identify.
a corporate, or a company cultural corporate
Absolutely, you
stance?
have to foster that type of culture.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Where people feel valued and they feel like their voices are being heard. Otherwise, for sure, you're going to have people that feel defeated.
Uh-huh.
People are going to feel like they don't matter, what their opinion,
Uh-huh.
it just doesn't matter.
Hmm.
So I think coming into building a team, building a group, you've got to identify who are those people who are just going to naturally, organically foster an environment where people feel heard and feel valued. That's sort of setting the tone
Okay.
for the team or the
So
group.
if you had to identify three things that would transcend across create a creative environment, a corporate environment, a personal environment, in order to overcome some of the challenges that people encounter working together. I don't want to say teaming, I want to say working together. What would those three things be?
Oh wow! So one certainly would be a good listener.
Okay.
Absolutely. You've got to be taking in more than you're actually sharing, right? You've got to be
Okay.
taking more in. So I think listening is golden. Someone who's a really just great listener for sure. I think another one that you need is to be able to take information and kind of be able to sift through it, because if you're working in a big group or a big team, you got a lot of information coming at you. So you need to be able to sift through that to really hear what is that person really trying to say. So it kind of works hand in hand with the listening part.
Okay.
One that a good leader would need to really facilitate group discussion, I think, would be able to then take everything that they've heard and that they've sifted through and be able to regurgitate that in a way where everyone feels informed, everyone feels like, oh yeah, he heard me. He heard that idea.
That is really awesome, Corey. And those three things, good listening, sifting through the information, and ensuring that everyone is informed, will ultimately lead to the common goal that you were speaking of. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Tell my listeners how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. You can find me via web at cohesiveness.com for my email address. You can find me on my website at cohesiveness.com, and then all of my social media is at Corey Emanuel. So I look forward to connecting with all of you. Let's keep the conversation going.
Awesome. If you're experiencing trouble working in a team, or let's say just working together, whether it's in your professional or personal life, schedule your free consultation today at inyourkorner.com and visit me on Wednesdays. This is Kathy. See you soon.